and even targeting the European Union. This is why we are keeping maximum pressure on Russia. That means tightening our sanctions regime. We will come forward soon with our 19th package of hard-biting sanctions. And in parallel, we are advancing the work on the Russian frozen assets to contribute to Ukraine's defense and reconstruction.
European Union moves closer to confiscating Russia's frozen assets. US is ready to impose a no-fly zone along with European allies. Trump's team has decided to send long-range missiles to Ukraine. Meanwhile, White House has misinterpreted Putin's intentions during the latest summit in Alaska. How is the EU ready to use Russia's frozen assets, and what really happened in Alaska? Politico reports that the European Union is moving forward with a plan to use profits from over 200 billion euro in frozen Russia's central bank assets to fund Ukraine. The plan would not confiscate the assets but redirect interest earning and investments profits, a legally safer option backed by several EU members. The European Commission also is drafting a legal framework with pressure to deliver before the year ends. Initial funds, 1.55 billion euros, have already been transferred to Ukraine from profits generated by the frozen assets. Baltic states, Poland and Nordic countries say this is a fair way to make Russia pay. However, France, Germany and the European Central Bank warn the move could hurt market confidence and damage euro's credibility. A new proposal may allow approval by majority vote, sidestepping likely vetoes from Hungary and others. Belgium is already sending 90% of asset-related tax revenue to Ukraine. Also, Latvian Defense Minister Andris Spurts urged to act from a position of strength, as Russia is bluffing and using bluffing strategies amid the peace efforts to push acceptance of their conditions.
Let's not underestimate what Russia is. Russia has its, of course, brutal approach to the war and complete disregard for human life. But let's not also overestimate what Russia is. It also has, in a sense, bluffing strategies that they are strong and the conditions must be accepted. No, not at all. Let's not underestimate who we are. We have a viable, strong economies. We have the military. Of course, the important part is our commitment, our contribution. So that's why we must continue to speak from positions of strength and act from positions of strength.
Meanwhile, US has indicated that it is ready to play a significant role in new European-led security arrangement for Ukraine once the war is over. According to reports from the Financial Times, US would offer critical intelligence support and air defense capabilities as part of a security framework aimed at preventing any future aggression from Russia. This is a major shift in US policy. While the US has ruled up deploying ground troops, it plans to provide intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, command and control systems and air defense assets to support European forces in Ukraine under this post-war plan. This includes baking a no-fly zone over Ukrainian territory and monitoring ceasefire arrangements via satellite surveillance. The move signals US readiness to step up its involvement in Ukraine's long-term defense. Moreover, according to Financial Times sources, US is ready to send its own aircraft to Ukraine to provide logistics and deploy ground-based radars to support no-fly zone. At the same time, European states will have to send tens of thousands of troops to Ukraine. The plan to provide security guarantees also includes the creation of 3 levels of defense, which will include primary defense by Ukrainian troops, the creation of demilitarized zone with troops from neutral countries as a second line of defense, and the deployment of European deterrent force in the rear of Ukraine with the support of the US Air Force. Meanwhile, EU defense and foreign ministers discussed this week the potential deployment of peacekeepers to Ukraine from a neutral country to patrol a demilitarized zone after the fighting stops. Politico has learned the meeting will be held this week, and the aim of the talks is to increase pressure on Russia to show that Moscow that continuing the war makes no sense. Officials will discuss post-war security guarantees and next package of EU sanctions against Russia. European leaders will discuss also which neutral third country could provide troops, peacekeeping crews, to patrol a demilitarized zone in Ukraine if fighting ends. Meanwhile, European officials are reportedly waiting a plan to create a 40-kilometer buffer zone between Ukrainian and Russian front lines. According to a report by Politico, the idea has not been publicly endorsed and remained controversial. The core concept would involve carving out a demilitarized zone roughly 40 kilometers wide, monitored by peacekeepers. The goal would be to physically separate Russian and Ukrainian troops after ceasefire, helping to prevent hostilities and offering a framework for long-term peace. However, no concrete plan has been agreed yet, and logistics remain staggering. Military estimates suggest that patrolling such buffer zone could require from 4,000 to 60,000 troops. Also, U.S. defense planners have ruled out putting U.S. boots on the ground in Ukraine. Instead, the U.S. is prepared to offer limited support in the form of intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and air defense coverage, but only under certain conditions and in coordination with European allies. France and the UK are the most likely to contribute personnel if a force were taken to shape. Both countries have military capabilities and political leadership willing to do so. However, Germany and Poland have expressed serious reservations. Ukrainian government has not yet formally endorsed the buffer zone idea. Meanwhile, the U.S. Department of State has officially approved a proposed $825 million foreign military sale to Ukraine, featuring thousands of guided missiles. That transaction, confirms through multiple sources, reflects a growing alignment between U.S. and European allies in arming Ukraine with the means to conduct deeper, more strategic operations against Russian military infrastructure. According to the recent announcement this week by the U.S. Defense Secretary, the approved package includes the transfer of more than 3,000 extended-range attack munitions, IRAM missiles, along with GPS navigation systems capable of resisting electronic warfare, and known as challenge in an electromagnetic-dense Russian-Ukraine battlefield. This package also provides suspension balance, missile containers, missile planning systems, software, spare parts, and ongoing engineering and logistics support, according to Reuters. The State Department emphasized that the sale is consistent with the U.S. ongoing support for Ukraine's sovereignty and self-defense, and does not alter the balance of power in the region. The IRAM system, a next-generation air-launched guided missile, offers a range of approximately from 150 to 280 miles, enabling Ukraine to strike deep inside Russia. This is a major departure from earlier U.S. policy, which has prioritized shorter-range defensive weapons due to the fears of escalation. Sources close to the Pentagon stated that the missiles are designed to be capable with Ukraine-upgraded Soviet-era aircraft, allowing for immediate integration into ongoing operations. However, each use of the IRAM system, particularly in cases involving Russian territory, will reportedly require case-by-case approval from the Pentagon. According to The Guardian, Ukraine will fund the purchase throughout a mix of U.S. foreign military financing and support from 3 European nations, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Norway. According to The Wall Street Journal, the initial shipment of IRAM systems is expected to reach Ukraine within 6 weeks. Preparations are already underway to ensure the weapons are integrated with Ukraine's command and control systems. Ukraine's air forces pilots are undergoing training with NATO partners to optimize the missiles' targeting and deployment functions. U.S. officials say the deal's approval was held back earlier this summer to avoid disrupting a series of high-level meetings between President Trump, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. Following those meetings, which reportedly yield no concrete ceasefire framework, the Biden-era hold on advanced missile sales was lifted under the current administration. Meanwhile, European and U.S. officials now question whether the Trump team fully understood what Vladimir Putin was offering during back-channel negotiations over Ukraine. according to The Atlantic. Putin proposed a conditional political trade-off. Russia would formally relinquish its claims to parts of southern Ukraine in exchange of recognition of control of Russia over Crimea and Donbass. But officials on both sides are asking questions. Did the White House misunderstand the scope and limits of what Putin was really putting on the table? In the meeting with Witkoff, Putin laid out what appeared to be a compromise in exchange for formal Western recognition of Russia's annexation of Crimea and occupation of Donbas region, areas Moscow seized in 2014 and 2022. Russia would agree to withdraw formal claims to the Ukrainian territories of Zaporizhia and Kherson. But beneath the surface of that offer lay several problems. First, Putin made no indication that Russian forces would actually leave southern regions. According to sources, the issue of troops withdrawal was not discussed, and perhaps more concerning, Witkoff never asked Putin about this matter. The lack of clarity surrounding the Moscow meeting has left European allies scrambling for answers. One European diplomat speaking on condition of anonymity said, quote, "There is mostly confusion at this point. Nobody can tell if this was a serious offer from Moscow or just Americans didn't understand what was being said. Officials have expressed frustration not only with the lack of Putin's details in Putin's proposal, but also with the informal and nature of the outreach. While informal diplomacy can sometimes serve a catalyst for breakthrough, the absence of professional diplomats or policy experts at the table during negotiations raised concerns about the strategy. Multiple sources said they remain unclear whether Putin's statement to Witkoff constituted an actual offer or simply a probe to test the waters of American flexibility on Ukraine territorial integration. That's all for today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and glory to Ukraine.